right up on the, a little bit back. Yeah, right there. That's good.
It's a beautiful day for baseball.
Oh, it's unbelievable
Okay,
compared to yesterday, too. I thought you were going to get rained out.
Had the big bike ride today.
I'm rolling your picture there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we're good? Okay, we just got speed.
I'm speeding.
Mr. President, thanks so much for the few moments that we have together.
Thank you, sir.
Why was it important for the last T-ball game be a salute to the troops?
Well, you know, I have come to admire our military families so much. Their dads and moms of the military families have been making enormous sacrifices on behalf of the country. And you can't do enough to praise and thank the families for being steadfast. And there's no better way to praise and thank the families than to welcome their little guys here to play T-ball on the South Lawn.
The biggest news right now is this T-ball game, but the biggest news up until the T-ball game was Governor Palin.
Yes.
Her speech, the way the country has looked at her, some have said bad things, some have said good things, but it's changed the whole complexion of this race. What do you know about her? What do you think?
Well, I know her. I met her. She's been you know, the governor of Alaska. She's come here to the White House. Laura and I saw her on her way to the Olympics. I find her to be a very dynamic, capable, smart woman who, you know, really says that John McCain made an inspired pick to me.
Right, and in your mind, is 2 years as a governor enough experience to be a VP?
Well, she's had executive experience, and that's what it takes to be, you know, a capable person here in Washington, D.C. in the executive branch.
Right.
As a matter of fact, she's compared to her opponents, she's had more executive experience than they've had.
Your speech, I don't know if you heard it, but it was very well received. I was on the floor.
Oh, really?
In Minneapolis. You have to go on my word on that. And people were going crazy for you. How is it for you to be left out of this process? Basically, you're on the sidelines for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel left out. I'm doing a lot of work for the party, raising a lot of money for the party so that we can be well-funded coming down the stretch. And I'm doing my job. I mean, we've got a war going on. It requires an engaged commander-in-chief, and I really don't feel left out. It's interesting to observe the race. And, you know, sometimes I long to be out there, you know, campaigning, but, you know, everything comes to an end.
Isn't it kind of strange to get shots from both sides? We hear John McCain, some of his ads are anti-White House, and we expect it from Senator Barack Obama.
Well, John's running as an independent, and he should. You know, I said when I ran for office, I ran for change, except in 2004. I felt like we ought not to change. But I'm not surprised, and he's running a good campaign, and he's the most capable person to be president.
Bob Woodward writes a book, and everyone's writing about it, and I saw an excerpt, if I believe the excerpt, they say that the surge in Iraq, the 30,000 troops, that isn't the reason why there's peace in Iraq today. It's just part of the reason. The awakening with the Sunnis, the militias breaking up, that's the other component of it. What is your explanation?
Well, my answer is that without the surge, those things wouldn't have happened. The situation in Iraq was deteriorating rapidly in the summer of 2006. And I had to make a choice as to whether or not to try to change the conditions on the ground or to pull back and hope for the best. I obviously chose the surge. And as a result of the surge, people have more confidence that the United States was going to stand with them. And when you have more confidence, it enables you to do, you know, make stronger actions. For example, the people showing up in the Sunni land to reject Al-Qaeda. The people in Anbar, for example, get a lot of credit.
Right.
But no doubt in my mind that had I not put in those additional Marines, that the actions they took would have been less likely to happen.
The economy.
Yes.
Fannie Mae is going to be the big story. Freddie Mac are going to be bailed out. Did the administration have a choice?
I wouldn't call it a bailout. I'd call it a stabilization. These two entities, which play a very important part in our mortgage market, you know, became weak. And Hank Paulson, the Secretary of Treasury, analyzed the situation and recommended that these be put into conservatorship. And I am, one, pleased with the Secretary of the Treasury's decision, and two, believe it will stabilize the markets, which is necessary at this point in time.
You always talked about sprinting to the finish.
Right.
3 months left. This is the backstretch of the sprint.
Yes.
What's feasible?
Well, we need to get an energy plan. I mean, one thing is for certain, not exploring for oil and gas on the outer continental shelf doesn't make any sense to the American people, and hopefully Congress will respond to the will of the people, get some reasonable spending bills, I hope, Obviously, we've got to conduct this war, continue to make sure we get it in a place for the next president to be able to achieve victory. So there's a lot to do. Free trade agreement with Colombia would be good.
Would be a nice surprise. How important is it for President Bush and George Bush to get bin Laden before you say goodbye?
Well, I don't know if we'll get him or not, but one thing is for certain: since September 11, 2001, we've been keeping the pressure on him, trying to find him, and we've dismantled a lot of Al Qaeda, and we'll continue to dismantle Al Qaeda. And Al Qaeda is not what it was in September 11, 2001. It's going to be very important for the next president to continue to stay on the offense, to press hard, to make sure there's no safe havens established, and hopefully we do get him.
Fox hired this guy Karl Rove.
Yeah.
And what's the key to getting along with him? Because he tends to be picking on me a little bit. Is there any tips you can give me?
He's one smart, capable, funny man who is lending his expertise so that the American people can get an interesting perspective of campaigning. He's my dear friend.
Do you watch him?
Occasionally, yeah. I watch him occasionally. I talk to him occasionally. Had him up to, we went to the Gettysburg battlefield together this weekend.
Oh, I didn't know that. And is this your last job?
No, I'll have other jobs. It just won't be quite as dramatic.
Not as stressful.
Nor will I be quite as pampered as I am now.
Predictions, will it be stars or stripes at the T-ball game? Who's victorious?
You know, it's hard to tell. I haven't really analyzed the rosters too much yet.
Right.
Who will win is going to be the United States military.
Right, and we just don't know why Bernie Williams, as a fine player, but he has no experience as a first base coach.
Well, I bet he can handle it. You know,
so?
He and General Pace. We've given him awesome responsibilities. I readily concede that. But Bernie is a man of many talents, and if he doesn't get overwhelmed by the atmosphere on the South Lawn, I think he's going to be able to do his job.
Mr. President, thank you very much, and I can't believe it, but I actually outdressed you. You look great, but I'm actually wearing a jacket, and you're always dressed
Yeah, well,
up.
feeling pretty good. You know, here we are in a Sunday afternoon T-ball game. It is, and I want to thank you for calling the game. You and Tim McCarver.
That's an awesome response.
You're padding your resume.
Yeah, absolutely, and this will be at the top. Mr. President, it's been an honor.
Great to see you,
Thank
buddy.
you very much, sir.